peak. With spike in the cases after months of decline, India must speed up the vaccination coverage. So we have been discussing editorial since a long time, and we know that there has been a decreasing trend in the cases of the coronavirus. The infections they have been decreasing very frequently, but now the infections of the coronavirus, there is an increase in that. So even the vaccination program, it was considered by the government several times, and they postponed it once or twice. So now they should not postpone it anymore, and they should really start it. Because if the virus starts to increase again, we could go into the full extent of the pandemic once again, and we don't want that. So it's better to vaccinate all the people as soon as possible. After a peak of nearly 98,000 freshly daily COVID 19 cases on September 16, 2020, the number of new cases reported per day in India has seen a slow but steady decline to reach below 12,000 in mid February. So, after a new peak of nearly 90, I just said that there was an increase in the cases, and the increase was by almost 100,000 cases of coronavirus. And this was the latest data according to the data of the according to the data on the day on the day of 2020 September 16th. The number of new cases reported per day in India has seen a slow but steady decline. So before that, the number of cases per day, or the number of people that got infected by coronavirus a day, uh, are anywhere between 12,000 and some other value. And this value, it has been decreasing steadily from February, but on from Feb- from February 2020, but we observed a spike in the month of September in 2020. But the trajectory of the curve began to reverse in the past week following a spike in cases in a few states: Maharashtra, Punjab, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. So the spike was in these states: Maharashtra, Punjab, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and in Kerala, the daily fresh cases have in fact been slowly declining for over a week. And the good thing is that I just mentioned some states in which there is a spike in the infections or cases of coronavirus: Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Punjab. But in Kerala, but the case of Kerala, it is quite the opposite, because because in Kerala, even now, the rate of the COVID-19 cases, it's still in decline. Means it's still decreasing. It has not seen a spike. The recent case decline in the state stands out against the trend since early January 2021. So, in the case of Kerala, as I said, they have not seen a spike. In fact, the cases, they have been decreasing and not increasing. And this thing is and this is happening since the month of January in 2021. Kerala was contributing between 45% and 50% of India's total daily cases for many weeks. And here's the most interesting part. I said that from January 2021, the rate of the cases in Kerala, it was declining very rapidly and was not increasing at all, being quite the opposite of the cases in which the spike has been seen, like Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Punjab, and Madhya Pradesh. In Kerala, before a few months, Kerala contributes up to 45% or 50% of the India's daily cases per day. But despite the drop to about 33% in the past week, there has been an increase in daily fresh cases nationally from a 7-day average of 11,000 cases in the second week of February to 12,900 cases in the last week. So, from the 45% to 55% contribution of the cases of Kerala, it has dropped to 33% only. And as Kerala has dropped, but the remaining parts of the country, they have increased. I just gave the I already gave the examples like Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, and so on. Um, and the average of the cases taken per week is anywhere between 11,100 cases to 12,900 cases. In the last 3 weeks, from less than 3,000 daily cases, the numbers in Maharashtra have been increasing, particularly so in the past week, to touch nearly 7,000 in February 2021. So, in the case of Maharashtra, the cases have been increasing. The number of cases per day they have been increasing. First, they have increased to 3,000 cases per day, and then they have been still increasing, and now they are at and now they are approximately at 7,000 cases per day, because the average of 7,000 cases per day it was recorded on February 21, 2021. As in the beginning of the pandemic, since mid February, Maharashtra is once again contributing the most daily cases nationally. So, in the beginning of the pandemic, in 2020, in the month of February, in the mid February actually, the state of Maharashtra and Kerala, this contribute a major part of the cases nowadays. And in the past, and Maharashtra, it is doing the same thing even now. It is contributing a major part of the India's daily cases, whereas Kerala, it is doing quite the opposite. It has been decreasing its rate of infections, and it's doing it's and it has been doing a very good job um, um, of, um, of containing the virus. While the absolute increase in the cases in Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh might not be high, in percentage terms, the increase is significant and clearly makes a spike. So as I told that there has been increase in the states of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Punjab. We have discussed Maharashtra. Now it's time to discuss Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and Chhattisgarh. So these cases, they might not be they might not be increased so much as Maharashtra, but they still have some increases in them. Their percentages may be less. For example, suppose that number of cases per day in any of the states like Punjab, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh is 3,000, and a 5% increase would not be that much, but the final amount would be somewhere would be some like 3,500, and if that goes on continuously, it may be that may be a threat. So we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to follow strict precautions, and hopefully even the government will start the vaccination program soon. The steady drop in the cases has been recorded since mid-September. The last year, despite last year mid-September last year, despite the much feared festival season, winter, large gatherings, almost absent restrictions in the free movement of people across states and national borders, and not so good adherence to mask wearing. uh, and the time when the cases have decreased and the time when the cases have decreased very rapidly is the time of festival seasons. Yes, it's very odd, because during the time of festival seasons, no one followed rules. Almost no one wore masks, no one practiced social distancing. There were several crowds, people moved from a state to other state. They did several other things which are against the rules, which are against the precautions to be taken for not getting infected by the coronavirus. Even though, despite of all of these activities or events by the people, there has been a decline in the cases of coronavirus. That's very interesting. And even the weather was not favorable for the decline of the COVID-19. It was winter season that time. Though the third country-wide sero survey conducted by the ICMR between December 17 and 2020 January 8, 2021 found that 21.5% of India have been exposed to the virus, and hence a large population is still vulnerable to infection. No spike was seen till a few days ago. Um, so, out of all the population of the India, only 21.5% they have been affected by the virus, and that's from one perspective that's a good thing, and from the other that's not a good thing. Which means that still a lot of people are left to be exposed to the virus, which means that almost every citizen in India is vulnerable for getting the virus. No scientific explanation has been found to demystify this phenomenon. Lack of targeted testing and integrity in reporting could be only plausible reasons. So no scientific explanation means there is no there has been so many scientific research on the reason of the spike. Um, the scientists were curious about in the presence of new variants, but that was not the case. And as it was not the case, they had no idea of how the spikes of they had no idea for the spikes in the cases of the coronavirus. So the plausible reasons means the possible reasons they could only be not following the rules properly, not wearing masks at all time, and not maintaining places sanitized. But the recent spike, either due to the infection of the people who are virus naive or reinfection, raises the possibility of the spread of any three variants first found in other countries or the emergence of a new variant here in India. So we have several other threats. The new variants which are produced in various other countries like Japan, Africa, and UK. Even one such could be produced in India when one of the variants is brought by a carrier, which basically means a person infected by the variant. If he comes here, a new variant could be built up. We never know what's going to happen. So it's better to start the vaccination program as soon as possible. This highlights the importance of undertaking the large-scale sequencing of the SARS-CoV-2 genome from infected people to trace and track the emergence and spread of any virus. While a few institutions in India have been sequencing the genome, the scale is nowhere near what is required. It is also time to speed up vaccination. SARS-CoV-2 virus, it basically means that the coronavirus. So the new variants of the coronavirus, we need to track their origin, and we need to take the following precautions, because if we don't do, we don't know what the we don't know what the variants are and what they are capable of. We'll be putting ourselves into a very risky situation if we don't track and solve this puzzle. But the unfortunate thing is that, yeah, even though they have tracked the virus, the results are not the results are not very good. So they are not much effective. It is also time to speed up the vaccination coverage to protect a large population of vulnerable people and increase the mask wearing. There is no room for complacency. So we should not be complacent at any cost. We should not be self-satisfied, because we have a lot of work to do, and we should not be self-satisfied. We should start the vaccination program as soon as possible, because that's the simplest method to reduce the cases. Thank you.